And it's great to be with you this afternoon. First up, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has increased its policy rate, the rate at which it lends to commercial banks, by 1% to 28%. Addressing the media, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison noted that the action is needed to deal with inflationary pressures and some of the current challenges facing the economy. Take a listen.
The concerns being expressed in the public domain relating to high government expenditures have been addressed in the SLA and reflected in the 2023 budget. The SLA is also contingent on the domestic debt exchange program and external debt restructuring, which, when concluded and the necessary financial commitments obtained, would allow the presentation of the SLA to the IMF board. The MPC believes that these measures will help restore fiscal and debt sustainability and bring down inflation, as well as help stabilize the currency. In the interim, the MPC sees the need to remain vigilant and moderate liquidity in the system to underpin the macroeconomic adjustments taking place to drive inflation on a downward path. Under the circumstances, the committee decided to increase the policy rate by 100 basis points to 28%. Thank you.
All right, Central Bank Governor Dr. Ernest Addison addressing the press a while ago. Mind you, there were some others who expected the hike to be much higher than the 100 basis points that was just announced. Joy Business Assistant Editor George Afe has been monitoring the announcement by the Central Bank on the policy rate and other matters. He joins us from the Bank of Ghana. George, what are the reasons the governor attribute for the policy rate hike?
Fiscal measures that government is putting in place right now and try and stabilize the economy. The governor of the Bank of Ghana also argues that inflation being around 50%, it's not anything that is good, and these measures need to be taken now
to try and bring the situation under control. Because the concern was that inflation might have peaked, so maybe we should be seeing some cuts in the monetary policy rate. But the governor believes that this, together with the debt exchange program, which has been done.
All right, we seem to have a bit of a challenge connecting with George. His audio is not very good from where he is. But the news this afternoon, the Central Bank, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank has increased its policy rate by 100 basis points to 28%. And the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, we heard him a while ago citing inflationary pressures. We are going to speak with George on the phone. So, George, what other reasons did the Central Bank Governor sign for the policy rate hike?
Well, if I can hear you, Darrell, I mean, what I'm just trying to explain is that it has to do with trying to stabilize or complement other measures by the Bank of Ghana to try and stabilize the situation. And that is why the policy rate was actually hiked at this point as well. And now, if we should move to other issues as well, the governor of the Bank of Ghana talked about the fact that they believe that this and other measures that they are putting in place could also help stabilize the local currency. There was also a question about what is the Bank of Ghana doing to try and help the commercial banks that will be hit by this debt exchange program. Well, the governor argued that apart from government-owned stabilization fund or financial stability fund that will be put in place for the whole financial sector, the Bank of Ghana would also be putting their own support system in place to try and deal with the situation. And they believe that all these measures that they are putting in place, Darrell, would help and deal with the situation. But interestingly, I have a banking consultant, and also Champon with me here, to try and also share his thoughts about his decision on the policy rate hike and also going forward, how that could help the situation. And I'll be joining me to try and deal with the situation in terms of what is being done and What is his comment on that one, Darrell? So quickly, I'm running to another phone to get his thoughts on it. And interestingly, some are saying that it was expected. And now we're seeing the policy rate being hiked by 100 basis points. Let me first get your preliminary thoughts on this policy rate hike by the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana.
Yeah, it was expected because the Bank of Ghana is practicing inflation targeting. And therefore, inflation has to move in tandem with interest rates to be able to bring inflation down. And therefore, with inflation rising to 54%, there was no alternative than to hike interest rates as a check against rising inflation.
It's quite an interesting time, and the government believes that this would also help complement other fiscal measures in trying to stabilize the economy. What are your thoughts on that one as well?
Well, again, it boils down to discipline. The measures are there. If you're able to implement, then we will stay within the fiscal policies that have been in place and continue to be in place. So, therefore, if we can discipline ourselves and ensure that we stick to the policy line, then it will be all well and good.
Are you convinced the Bank of Ghana governor gives another assurance about the outlook for the city? Because some are worried about the impact of whether the Bank of Ghana will get the required balance of payment support come in time from the IMF. The governor gave the assurance that all other things being equal by the end of the first quarter, something should come in from the IMF. Convinced, assured, or what?
I cannot challenge him. And therefore, if he says so, he knows more than you and I do. And he's looking through and saying that it will come through. So we just have to rest assured that his promise.
Again, there was also further assurance about what the Bank of Ghana is doing to help commercial banks in total that might be hit by this domestic debt action program. Again, the governor was also kind of assured that there is no need to be worried. We will do what we have to do to stabilize the situation as well. Are you also convinced by this assurance of the Bank of Ghana that don't be rest assured that we'll do what we have to do to bring the situation under control?
Yes, I think the stabilization fund that is being set up will complement that effort to ensure that where there's a capital call on any bank, if they cannot get it from their investors, then they should be able to get it from the government. And, to take your mind back a bit, this happened in the banking crisis of 2007, 2008 in the UK, where the government came in and lent money to all the banks except Barclays.
The banks except Barclays Bank, which refused to take it. So as long as the banks here are ready to take the money from the stabilization fund, things should be okay.
Well, so Darrell, you heard the banking consultant, Anoto Champon, giving us his thoughts on this whole from the governor of the Bank of Ghana. Well, if there are no further questions, over to you, Darrell.
All right, George Afi, thank you so much for the update from the Bank of Ghana premises where the governor has been addressing the press. Well.